Hi guys, you're watching the first episode of the CIS Most Talented Photographer Competition. In this competition, the school's best photographers battle it out for the title of Most Talented. In case you don't remember how the competition works, here it is once again. In each of the rounds taking place over the course of the year, contestants will be provided with a theme, for which they will submit one photo in response. Photos will be judged anonymously by our judges, and the highest scoring photos will be awarded amazing prizes. So before we begin, let's take a look at the participants. We've got Abigail Yi and Kitty Ng, Allison Loy, Anastasia Salnikov, Britta Lan, Celine Ng, Chloe Lung, Clara New, Irene Lee, Jasmine Bryan Boyce, Jonathan Law, Caitlin Chan, Cami Chu, Kelly Chu, Stephanie Lau, Leah Brystrov, Mayan Broad, Natasha Chak, Nicholas Barry, Scarlett Chung, and Stephanie Lung. So for this first round, the theme we chose was overpopulation. We thought this was appropriate because of the relevance of overpopulation to Hong Kong as a social issue. This starting theme also allowed for a lot of creative freedom and free interpretation. Okay, so here we are with Miss Afaya.
Hello.
Unfortunately, Nat couldn't be with us today, but he has left us with his comments.
Those are mine, actually.
Okay, his comments, and let's jump right into the judging process of the photo. So the first photo that we have today is actually the winning photo, and this photo received top ratings from both judges. And what do you think about this photo, Miss Afaya?
Well, I was first struck by the texture, and I've got a big eye for texture, and it's quite messy, some would say. There's a lot happening in the foreground, but there's a nice break with the actual foliage or the hillside, and then you have the buildings on top of that. So there's another layer of texture in the background and the foreground, and everything is quite crisp, actually, if you look quite closely. And in terms of the theme of overpopulation, I thought it was quite appropriate that you had buildings, but then you also had the cemetery idea.
Yeah, let's read the caption.
Yeah.
The person said, "My picture is what I think defines overpopulation in Hong Kong. Indeed, there are millions of people living here, but not many of us take notice of the decreasing cemetery spaces. In reality, tens of thousands fight for a space to allow for their loved ones to rest in peace. That is, in my opinion, overpopulation." So let's take a look at Nat's comments, actually. He also liked the take on the theme of overpopulation. He thought it was a very creative and interesting way to approach the topic, and he said that the photo draws together two very contrasting subjects, and they come together to give an overall very effective image. So the foreground is a cemetery, which seems very clustered, and is also effective in bringing out the theme. And the tombstones also have a degrading kind of feeling, which gives the photo a negative tone. And in the background, we see residential buildings, which are packed closely together and which portray the more man-made side of overpopulation. The black and white theme of the photo also adds to the solemn tone of the photo, and it also brings out the negative consequences of overpopulation. Lastly, the sky adds texture to the photo, and texture is also a great, well-used element in this photo. So this was the winning photo of the round. Congratulations to you who took this photo. Okay, so the second photo we have is this photo, and this was agreed commonly by the judges as the second best photo of this round. So Mr. Fai, what do you think about this photo?
Well, when I first saw it, the theme of overpopulation was quite obvious to me, because you are looking at a whole bunch of people, specifically their legs. So that was different, because normally I think when people try to show overpopulation, they show lots of headshots. So this was a different view and perspective. And obviously with the slower shutter speed, you got movement, which adds a little bit of vibrancy to the photo as well. So I quite liked the use of some of the technical aspects of, well, just using a manual camera.
What do you think about the square crop? Because obviously not a lot of photos have this kind of crop.
Well, in this case, I was trying to think about, if they had a wider shot, would that enhance the message any further? And does this detract? But I don't think it does detract, because you get the volume of people simply there. So in my view, I don't think there was anything lost by it, and maybe the interest gained is the fact that it's square and not the regular.
Okay, so Nat also really liked this photo. He said that the use of the slow shutter to capture the motion of the pedestrian was very effective, and this was something that contributed to the theme of overpopulation. There's also a sense of direction in the photo which leads the viewer to look at a certain spot in the photo as in the leading line, and most of the footsteps are going the same direction, which is also artistically very pleasing to the eye and adds to the technicality of the photo.
Yeah, I was trying to look for the foot that wasn't going in the right direction. I thought I found one, which kind of makes it a little bit interesting, and that's actually not even moving. So there's all these little elements, sort of like a Where's Waldo kind of thing you can look and find.
Small things that bring the picture together. Okay.
There you go.
We don't have a definite third photo because the judges didn't agree completely on this, like in terms of scores on the different photos. But we do have three notable ones that came after the top two, and here they are. And we'll show that on the screen. So let's talk about this one first. So this is captioned "Overpopulation, do you see eye to eye?" And I thought this was pretty interesting. And Ms. Fai, you gave that a score of 11, which is near full score, 11 out of 12. So what did you think about this photo?
Well, I was drawn to it because, of course, there's lots of texture, but it's a simple texture. It's not as complicated as the winning photo that we had earlier on, because it's the same repeated element of a fish. And the colors, which were simple because it was mainly just the red and white, the same subject repeated over and over again, I thought was pleasing to the eye aesthetically, but also when you come down to the theme with the clever caption of "Do you see eye to eye?" and there's lots of little eyes in there, you could take it to mean quite a few different things. It could be, because I think the theme didn't say it had to be overpopulation of humans, right? So it could be anything. But in this case, one aspect of it is the fact that we're demanding too much food and fish, and overfishing is a huge topic as well. So I thought it was very cleverly done, aesthetically as well as conceptually.
Okay, so we also have this photo. This is quite similar to the first photo, the winning photo, in that it uses the theme of graveyards and tombstones as well to portray the theme of overpopulation. And this photo, Nat actually awarded it a near top score, 11. Ms. Fai, you awarded this photo a score of 6. That's a big difference.
I did.
So let's talk about what Nat thought first. So he thought it was an interesting approach to overpopulation because it almost mocked overpopulation. And even though the photo lacks a clear focal point, the entire photo as a whole is able to portray the message quite well. And it's a very simple photo, and I think, and he thinks it takes on the theme from a different perspective, which is overall quite effective. So what did you think? Like, why did you award it a 6?
Well, I certainly did think that it matched the theme, so it did get high marks for its application of it. But was it creative in terms of trying to approach the thought maybe technically or from a concept point of view? I've seen lots of shots like this, and I think there is a significant difference between the winning photo and sort of the thought behind that versus this one. And this one could have been a shot taken from quite a bit of a distance because the focus isn't quite as crisp as it could have been. So for those reasons, I thought that perhaps I wouldn't give it as high a score. So
all right,
apologies, dear photographer, of that one.
Okay, let's move on to